Yo guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with episode 20 of our Reddit series, and today I got some more content from r/EntitledParents. So without any further ado, let's get right into the stories. Crazy EM wants our house. So recently I've had one entitled parent experience that lasted 2 months and now this. My family is renting our house in Minnesota so that we can stay in Maryland while my grandfather recovers from a heart attack. Anyway, we are packing things up with one of my friends and there's a loud banging on the door. I look through the peephole. A woman in her 40s with the cut and the shades is there. So I opened the door. Hello ma'am, can I help you?
Yeah, this house is for rent and it's mine now, so you have 15 minutes to get your stuff and go.
Okay, let me get my mom. My mom comes to the door and talks to the EM, while I was in my room, which was above the door, packing my stuff. Mom, if you would like to pay rent, we would let you stay.
Paying? Lady, are you on drugs or something?
My friend says, I was about to ask you the same question.
Woman, rent means the house is open to the public until it is taken, and it is mine now.
Mom, leave now. The lady leaves, but the next day she comes with 2 U-Haul trucks. By the way, U-Haul is a moving company and I'm not sure if they are international. One full with her things and one that was meant for us. The lady got out of one and talked to my dad, who was in the garage getting his things together.
Okay, here's your U-Haul. I plan to move in tonight.
My wife told me about you and you're not welcome. We are not moving for a couple of days.
No, you're moving now.
Are you paying us at all?
Oh hell no.
Then she turned into a baby voice.
Renting means that anyone can move in for free.
No lady, you are wrong. Get off my property, now.
But it's mine now.
Not unless we are out of the house and you are paying us. Now, out. So the EM sits down on our driveway. She stays there, sitting on our driveway, legs out facing the road with her bottom lip curled under pouting for a few hours, and then a miracle. A car comes around and they stop on the curb. A young woman and a man, also rather young, stepped out and walked up to the EM. Mom, what are you doing here? Dad comes home to everything gone and now you have 2 moving trucks in front of this house. What the hell are you doing?
I'm moving into my new house.
You have a house already.
But it's for rent, that means we can move in for free.
No, it doesn't. It means you can pay monthly to live in a house. Get in that truck and put all of our stuff back in our house. EM goes into a kicking and crying and screaming temper tantrum like she's a 2-year-old who didn't get candy at a store.
I want it so bad.
Mom, stop acting like this or we will call the police on you.
No, please, no.
The young woman walks to me and my dad. Sorry, my mother has always been like that. Me and my boyfriend are going to take her to the hospital. We are also not interested in renting your house, so if you made any deals with her, please cut them. Oh, we never had any deals with her, but thank you for collecting her. Oh, no problem. The EM kicked and screamed her way into the car and then they drove off. The one thing I have to say is, I am tired of all these damn Karens in the damn state of Minnesota. Update. The young woman from before knocked on our door at like 6 o'clock this morning to apologize. Her mom was taken to a hospital and this was apparently not the first time she acted this way, just never with the house before. I asked her how they didn't notice that she was moving their stuff out of the house. She said that her dad was in the city on a business trip for a week and he came back to everything gone. She apparently lived with her boyfriend, I wonder why, and I asked her about how she found her and she said she had the Find Friends app on her iPhone. She gave us some donuts and coffee and said sorry one last time and then left. Okay, I think we have a special Karen specimen here. This Karen in particular seems like she has a mental illness or a severe type of absolute crazy Karenness, and I'm starting to wonder if anyone has already found a cure for all these Karens that are running around freely. Seems like there's an epidemic happening in Minnesota. Either way, let's continue to the next story. EM thinks that I should guarantee her that her son will pass his exam after tutoring. I am a student and I do some tutoring in my free time. Mostly math, but in some rare cases I'm asked to help with economics, management, law, German or programming. I tell my students to text me a few days in advance if they want me to bring exercises. Anyways, I had been teaching this guy, E, male 17, a few times. I wonder what this guy does during the lessons because I sometimes have to teach him the stuff that is on the first page of the chapter. So one day I get a call from his mom, let's call her Karen or EM, and she told me that E needs another lesson today. Wow, okay, what the hell? What do you think what I'm doing? I'm in another city right now. Okay, fine. If I skip one lecture, I can be back at 4. Also, what do you learn at school about pricing in monopolies? Good luck finding someone who will help you today. With unelastic demand, good luck without help if you need it that much. But I want some extra pay. Skipping courses is not part of the deal. Karen agrees. $20 extra. Happy merchant intensifies. Oh, and also I have to come to their place. Sorry Karen, not gonna enter a Karen's house. Nope. Your son can pick between the high school canteen and the university bistro. Karen talks some crap and then she agrees to the high school. Skip forward, I'm at high school and Karen is there too. Hey Karen.
Hey OP, E has a test tomorrow.
Oh damn, I know where this is going.
He hasn't studied yet and doesn't quite understand everything yet.
I bet he understands nothing. So, have you looked at anything yet? E.
Yes, I have.
Well, can you show me?
I know.
Basically, just the stuff that he heard in the lesson or googled a few minutes earlier. Has he pulled an all-nighter before, Karen? Because I really don't think we can get this all done in 1 hour.
I know, it's probably gonna take longer.
What? I think you clearly said an hour on the phone.
Well, I meant more of a lesson. So, 45 minutes? 2 hours or something.
Well, damn me, that's gonna be some nice income for the day, I see.
I'll pay you in advance since I'm already here.
Pulls out $60. Wow, 2 hours at the usual rate of $40 per hour plus the $20, that would make $100 then.
What?
Me, what?
Why are you charging extra?
Because I have to be here longer maybe?
But I'm already paying you more.
Yes, for having to drive for 1.5 hours to return to this damn city when I should be currently sitting in a lecture.
But you already get enough money.
You know, I charge hourly. But damn, if it's too much, I can leave. And Karen, you are in an emergency right now. I should be charging you even more.
Alright, but I expect him to get a good mark then.
So she hands me the money. Well, that depends on him. I don't guarantee anything. So I had to explain vectors and matrices to him. And I had to start from 0. Fine, I get him far enough to solve some exercises by himself. I skip learning the formulas and I write him a little summary of all operations, and if we learn that now, he might as well just skip the test. I tell him to learn what's on there at home, the easy stuff that you just need to remember, and solve some more exercises. But I cannot believe that we even got that far. Skip forward, 2 weeks later in a lecture, I get another call from Karen. So I get up and walk out because it's boring anyway. Hi
He failed his test, you scammed us, give me the money back.
Well, so what did he get?
He got a 3.5 and he needed a 4 to pass.
Damn, I should have just said no. Good luck going to a test without any knowledge about the topic. You didn't really expect him to pass with just 2 hours of studying, right? I would look at your son's attention issues instead of blaming me. I never studied at home because I got it done during the lessons. Maybe he should try listening to the teacher as well.
Who do you think you are to talk about my son like that, my precious son? I want you to come here and give me the money back.
Sorry Karen, I did my job. I'm at university right now, so I don't have more time to talk. Have a nice day. I think if you've ever tutored someone, then you can really relate to this story. Because of course it makes you feel bad if your student is failing, but it's basically impossible to guarantee that someone else will reach this or that grade in that test. And more often than not, there's just no way that someone who is basically destined to fail anyway because he was super lazy during the lesson will magically get an A or something if they study 1 day before the actual exam. It also really has to do with common sense. I mean, it's clear that Karen is lacking common sense, but how can anyone really expect to get a guarantee that a kid reaches that grade? Teaching is not the same as changing the oil in your car or something. Anyway, that was the 2 entitled parents stories for today, and now we're gonna move on to the bonus content. If you have watched this far, please consider to like my video, And also subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of my uploads, because lately YouTube has been screwing up a little bit and YouTube didn't show my new videos to my old subscribers. So if you click that bell icon, you won't miss a single one of my uploads. So let's dive right into the bonus content, which is r/church drama. Crazy Church had 2 food pantries. So as a kid, I grew up Southern Baptist, and even though my family didn't really agree with the SBC, which is the Southern Baptist Convention, at all. My dad was the youth minister at this church for about 5 years from the time I was 7 to 12. As I got older, I realized how awful the church was, and a lot of the kids my age were as mean and catty as their parents. The one story that I distinctly remember was one of the stories that made my dad decide to leave that church. My dad has always put an intense emphasis on helping others because he believes it's what the Bible preaches more than anything else. So he would do things like drive kids to worship or Wednesday youth stuff in the bus, because a lot of the families in that area could not afford to do it. He got a lot of complaints from the deacons and the churchgoers that a lot of the poorer kids were getting special treatment as opposed to their kids, who for the most part all had cars or siblings that drove. Although this was only the beginning. Our church had a food pantry that did a lot of good work. And my dad wanted to demonstrate to these kids how important it is to help the community, so they began working in the food pantry. The deacons and more snooty churchgoers did not like this one little bit. To this day, I don't know why they were pitching such a fit. Well, they basically told my dad that they were not having it, so they made my dad start a second food pantry for the youth group to work in, and people could donate to the church pantry or the youth pantry, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Thankfully, most of the people in the church thought that the deacons were being dumb and supported the youth pantry, and people in the community even went to the youth pantry as well. It got to the point that the church literally had to give up on the idea and finally combine them because their food was going to waste. It was not long after this that my dad told the pastor, to this day a very good family friend, that he was leaving. And the pastor said he did not blame him and wished there was more he could have done to help. Honestly, though, there was little he could have done. It's interesting, I was reading through the comments on this particular post, and someone was pointing out that in the South it's still pretty common that even the deacons in church can sometimes be kind of racist. And then the OP of the story actually confirmed that the majority of his church is white, and that people indeed were upset because his dad was driving the poor Hispanic and African American kids. If you ask me, that sounds like a terrible church to me. But I mean, thank God, literally, that not every church is like this. The gossip. Grinch. The following happened within my own church a little over 3 years ago, and I was only informed about the details earlier this year. This story involves 3 people, all of whom I know or knew very well. 2 of them were a married couple with a kid, while the third is the titular gossip Grinch, or GG as they will be called from here on. I will use H and W for the couple in question, while P will stand in for my pastor. H was one of the most hard-working members of my church for years, while H was a youth leader who drummed in church bands regularly. He helped with any working bee or event that went down, and I considered H a mentor. Anyway, due to a few conflicts of personality between P and H, the latter decides that their work ethic was being taken for granted by the church hierarchy and decides to leave it. W opts to remain within the church. Enter GG. This guy was well regarded in the church for his strength and resilience. He had come from an extremely harsh background, which is dirt poor, multiple step families and barely any love, that kind of deal. Despite that, he grew out of there, worked as a missionary in China for 5 years, which I will admit was pretty ballsy, and had a job in the disabilities sector. By the time H left the church, GG and H were very close friends, and GG continued to talk to H after the latter left the church. Most of the church were unwilling to speak to H outside of going to church, despite all he had done for the place. For whatever reason, H always told those people that H would be happy to speak to them any other day of the week, and nothing ever came of it. Fortunately for H, my best friend and 3 other church friends had a share house near H and W's place, and they stayed in contact as well, and with me occasionally seeing H with them. However, Gigi was doing a ton of damage by pretending to be H's friend. Gigi effectively isolated H from the church by spreading malicious rumors about H's character and painting H as a psychotic person, and even tried to break up H's marriage to W by extolling the virtues of avoiding interfaith marriages. Moreover, by that point, H had been losing his faith ever so slowly. This ultimately led to H standing on a tall building late one night contemplating suicide as they lost faith for good. Thankfully, H's little kid was the only reason H didn't go through with it. At present, H and W are happy and they are expecting a second kid as well. When I was told all of this, H ended up saying that if Gigi went near H and W again, then H would happily serve time for killing him, and that Gigi had spread rumors about me and a number of my friends over the years as well. Fortunately, Gigi ended up switching churches after my church wised up to Gigi's manipulative behavior. We have not seen hide or hair of Gigi in 2 years. Suffice to say, I would have little trouble giving H an alibi if Gigi ever came back for more. In case anyone asks why I didn't know about this when it was happening or why I didn't do more to help H, I had to help with a parent dying and finishing my degree that same year, so I was quite preoccupied. Still, I felt guilty for not being as sociable with H back then as I should have been when I found out. I feel like Gigi is not only the gossip Grinch, but instead he is slandering others, so that's much worse if you ask me. I would say that church became a much better place after that manipulative guy finally left. Alright guys, that was the episode for today, a little bit shorter than usual, but please tell me if you like r/church drama, and if not, please give me some more suggestions on which subreddit I should cover in the bonus section of the video. But until then, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow.